Okay. Okay. So we have the we have the R Studio, and we have totally 5 major components. So it starts with the menu bar, and then it starts with a file editor. Then you have a console place where you will execute your commands. And right side, you have 2 panels. The first one is the environment, where you see your list of variables. You can see the list of variables along with the values of the variables. So we have also understood what is a variable. So variable is nothing but a storage space, right? So I may want to store a number, I may want to store a string, I may want to store a sequence of data, right? So everything will be stored in a variable. So why we are instead of using a storage space, why are we calling it as a variable? So variable means the value may vary with respect to the assignment. So at one point of time, I can assign some 10, 15. Another time I can center 100, 200, that way. So that's the reason we call that as a variable. So earlier, when you take C programming, Java programming and all, they will create the variable according to the necessity of the data which they want to store. Suppose I want to store number, then I should create an integer variable. Suppose I want to store a character, then I should create character variable. But here in our R Studio, we don't have any problem like that. So you can assume that the variable is in the left side. You can use an assignment operator and you can send some values into the variable. So we have seen that also. Suppose I can give like A is equal to 100. So when I enter this command, what happens is the command gets executed in the console place. The value 100 is being assigned to the variable A. So now what is the data type of A? So it is nothing but an integer. So integer is nothing but a number. So how many variables I am creating, the same variables image is created in the global environment. So it shows like how many variables are there and what are their values. So now how do I clear this? So I can just clear, for example, these variables are created yesterday, but I don't want to have these variables. I want to clear and start fresh. So how do I do it? So you can see that clear objects from the workspace. So you click on it and then you see that all the variables are deleted from the environment. So what happens if it is deleted? Suppose here if I press A and hit enter, then the console is giving me a message saying that object A is not found. Why it is not found? Because it is deleted from the environment. So how do I do it again? So I can enter the same command. Okay. So we have also seen that the command, whatever we are entering here, it is available in the history panel. So in the history panel, you can see whatever the commands we are executing, everything is stored inside, right? Suppose now I want to execute the previous command without going to this place. Okay, suppose this command I want to enter, b is equal to 5. I want to enter. So how do I do it? So when I click, it looks like a blue color. When I do double click, then what happened? This command is copied to the prompt. Can you see that? Can you try it in your system as well? Just double click. Is it copied? Is it copied? Someone respond, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. And then what I should do? I should hit enter. Okay. So is there any other way to get my command back? In the command prompt itself, I can use the arrow key, right? How many arrow keys we have? Left, right, top, and bottom. So use the top key. Use the top arrow key. You will see whatever the commands you have typed. Can you try that? These commands we executed yesterday. So I am able to retrieve all these commands just by using the top arrow key, right? So whichever command you want to execute, just go and then hit enter. You will be able to execute your history commands also. Okay, so there are 2 ways of retrieving the commands. One is by using the upward arrow. Otherwise, we can go to the history to fetch the command. Okay, what about the last panel? So this panel, we have files, plots, packages, help, and viewer. Files is the place where you have the list of files in the particular folder. And then we have plot. This is a place, if I'm drawing a plot or a graph, the plot and graph will be appearing in this panel. Okay, packages are nothing but which has the library function. So here we can see these are the packages, this particular version is having. Can you check in your system, in your R Studio, what are the packages do you have? You're able to see the packages?
Yes,
Right?
ma'am.
Very good, very good. Okay. So this much actually we have seen, and we started creating variables. We started using arithmetic operations also, but we have not started with a string, right? So now let's start. Now I want to create the my workspace. So how do I clear the commands? How do I clear the commands?
Control L.
Control L. Very good. So now we have cleared it. Okay. And this is, yeah, this is that file place, right? Now let's see how we can execute commands here. Now let's see, A is equal to 10. Okay. Now when I'm entering the commands here, the command is not executed. Why it is not executed? Because when you're typing the commands in the console, the command will be interpreted. You would have studied in your school days, right? Your computer can understand only ones and zero. So all the program you need to do compilation. What do you mean by compilation? The high level language source code will be converted into ones and zeros for the system. Then only the system can execute, isn't it? So when that can be executed after the compilation process. So in the command prompt only, if I enter the command, then it gets executed. If I'm typing it in the file editor, this will not be executed immediately. Then at what time it will be executed? You need to enter all the source code. Let's see. So I'll give a different value. So 25, B is equal to 30, C is equal to A plus B. I have given C. Means that I want to print the value. Now let me save this. How do you save? Just like normally how you give control S. So default location here is documents. So I'm going to save this as add dot R. The file will be saved with the extension R. Okay. So I've saved this file. Now, how do I execute this particular file? Can you see run here? Can you see run here?
Yes,
so
ma'am.
when I move over there, I can see that run the current line or selection. So what do you mean by that? So now let me click here. What is the current line? The current line is A is equal to 25. So if I click on this command, then what happened is the moment when I give this particular line of command is being copied to the console. It is executed. And what happened? The environment also updated. Can you see that? Earlier A value was 10. Now the value of A becomes 25. Okay. Now how do I execute the next command? I should move to the next line and then I'm giving run again. So is it necessary that I should go to every line and then give? Not necessary. What you can do is you select the entire lines in the particular file and then click on this. So what happened? All the lines are copied. All the source codes are copied into the console and got executed in one shot. Okay. I'm giving you 1 minute to execute. You type anything. I have done plus. Maybe you could try a minus, star, slash. Okay, because we have primarily 4 major operations, right? Minus, then star, then slash. So try this, and not only displaying the value of C, try displaying the value of A, B also. Okay, I'm giving you exactly 30 seconds or 1 minute. 1 minute. Just type the command and see whether you are able to save the file with the extension R and then execute the commands in the console. Now we are able to execute command both in console as well as in a file, and we are able to execute, right? Okay, so you have tried executing the primary commands also, and you are able to see the results. Now let's move on, because now our main focus is executing the data science applications. So we know very well that the data science applications, we will be having variety of data also. Now let's see how are we going to execute different commands. Okay, yeah, I'll share. Okay, so I'm going to show you the commands, and I wish you wish you all to execute the command in your system. Okay, So now this one we have done 3 plus 2, we are able to give the result. Multiplication we have done. Now let's move on to the next type of operation. So as of now, we have done arithmetic operation. Now, how do you execute the logical operation? So what do you mean by logical operation? Checking some condition. What are the conditions generally we'll check? We'll check, we'll compare two numbers, whether they are equal, whether they are bigger, right? And sometimes we will try to do some logical operations also, right? So how we can do that? So let's see. Now, please, can you execute this command? 3 is less than 4 and tell me what is the result you have got in the command prompt, or you can enter the same command in your editor also, not a problem. Okay, so I will also parallelly do. Okay, so I'm going to give is 3 is less than 10. So what is the answer I have got is true, right? Since the condition is correct, I'm getting the response is true. Then I'm giving 10 is less than 1, I'm getting false. Now I'll give 10 equal to. If I give 1 equal, then it means that it is an assignment operation. Suppose if I give 2 equal symbol, then it is a comparison operator. So 10 is equal to 10. Then I'm getting the result as true since the condition is actually true. Suppose if I'm giving double equal to 1, then I'm getting the result as false because the condition is not true. So is it like only one value can be compared with one value? Not necessary. You can have a sequence of operation and the result of operation can be compared with the another value. So now let me give 10 plus 5 is equal to 12. So I'm getting false. Now I want to edit the same command and execute again. So how do I do that? I can use the arrow operator. So I will be able to retrieve my previous command. Then I can go in, I can change the value. So now I'm changing this 12 into 15. So I want to check 10 plus 5 is equal to 15. When I'm hitting enter, I'm getting the result as true. So it means that I can have any arithmetic operation. The end result of the arithmetic operation will be compared with the value which we have specified in the right hand side of the expression. Okay, so we are able to execute arithmetic operation, we are able to execute logical operation. So whether can I copy this value into variable and then perform the logical operation? Yes, I can do it. So we have our own values, right? A, B, C we have. So now I can do this way. A plus B equal to C. Okay, so I'm getting the response as true because A is 25, B is 30. Some value is already kept in the variable C, which is being compared now, and the result is being displayed as true. Are you getting it? So we are able to operate on values. We are able to operate on the variables. Both we are able to do it, right? Okay, now we will move on to the next command. So now we are going to operate with a string. So how are we going to do it? So generally, how do I differentiate string from number, right? Okay, so if I press simply like this, then it is considered as a number. Suppose if I have a string like this, then I'm getting the response as error, right? Because by default, the integer is being allowed, and by default, we are not accepting the string without any delimiter. So I'm going to use double quote, and now I'm going to use like this. So now what happens now? This value is considered as a string object. How do I know it is considered as a string object? I can see this, right? Can you see this square bracket one? So we always witnessed whenever we are typing the command and when we are visualizing the result, this prompt will be coming. It means that it is R is considering this particular value as an object. So now this is considered as an object, right? So now can I have two words? Yes. I should be giving it inside the double quote. So good morning. Yeah, fine. Then suppose I have like this. I am fine. How are you? Yes. Can I store it in variable? Yes, we will do. S is equal to hello world. What happened? Check in the environment. Variable S has been created, assigned with the value hello world, right? Okay. Now I'll do another, I'll create another variable. Okay. Now I have a question. Can I add these two? How we tried adding the numbers, same way if I give, I'm getting an error because the string cannot be operated as such. The string operations are different from the numerical data. Okay. So we'll move on. So the next thing what we are going to do is we will, yeah. So we have assigned and we tried to perform arithmetic operation, which is not working. So, okay, fine. Now we'll see how then I can do it in a different way. Now I need to have a specific library function for the string operation. So let me take a very simple example. I'm going to call a function called as REP. REP is nothing but replication function. So replication is nothing but taking duplicates, isn't it? So here I'm calling this function REP, okay? And then when I have given this REP, can you see a tooltip text here? Can you see a small tooltip text here? Right? One small yellow color one. So what is that is it is guiding me to enter whatever the values the function is expecting from the programmer. So now let me give hello and then 3. So what happened when I give this way? So I have given one string value and I have given a number value. So the number value is nothing but the count. Okay, string value is the source value which is going to be replicated. So the source value, which is hello, is replicated to 3 times. Okay, so can I change a number? Okay, even I can give 10 and see what's the result. So the moment when I have given 10, I can see 10 times the hello is being printed, right? And now look at the this index, right? Can you see here 1 and here it is 6. Can you tell me why it is 6 here? Can you tell me why is it 6 here? So I'll call. What's your name? Cheryl? Cheryl, roll number 47.
Yes,
Can you
ma'am.
tell me, do you have any idea why this hello is given as 6 and why this is given as 1?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Any guess? What is your roll number?
47.
47. Why it is 47? It's a kind of position value, right? In the class. So the same way here you can see you have some list of values. So each value, how do I differentiate these values? By the position. So this is in the position 1. It's in the position 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's the reason this hello is being marked as 6. Are you getting it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So when you have a collection of values, when you have a list of values, so how do you differentiate one value from the other? How do you access the value? So generally, last class also we have discussed this thing, that is storing is not a big deal. How do you retrieve the value again? So to access the value, I should be knowing the address or I should be knowing the variable name. Then only I can access. Now in this case, say for example, let me take the same command again, and we know very well that the command result can be stored into a variable. Now let me give a variable like this. X is equal to REP hello 10. So now what happened in, look at the environment, you have X and you can see CHR. So CHR is indicating that it is a character, right? It's a character. And here you can see 1:10. It means that you have totally 10 values. The 10 values will be taking the position value from 1 to 10. That is why it is given as 1:10. You should be knowing this range. Why? To access the values also. We will see how do we access the values. Okay. So So since here we have the replicated values, so from 1 to 10, you have the same value. Hello, 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 hello. But there are some cases you will have all 10 values which are totally different. In that case, how do I access each value? By by giving its position value, or in another term, I can say that it is the index. Okay, so now let me take ex and then use the square bracket and then give 1. So what happens is, now x is having totally 10 values. Out of 10 values, I want to access a part of the the variable. Okay, how do I access? By giving the position or index. Suppose if I give x of 6, then I get the 6th value. Okay, now let me try this way. Then what happened when I give 1:6? When I gave 1, I was able to view the value which is in the index 1. When I gave 6, I was able to view the value which is in 6th position. And when I give 1:6, then I'm able to view the entire range. Right? Have you executed this? Shall I move on? Are you able to generate string values? Preeti, roll number 44. Preeti?
Yes, ma'am.
Preeti, you are able to generate the string value?
Yes, ma'am. I'm trying to do it. Actually, I'm downloading and it's getting time.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Meanwhile, can you try with the Jupyter Web UI?
Yes, ma'am. I'll try and I'll let you know.
Okay. Don't worry. After this class, only the command sheet I will give it to you. Okay. You get a manual of today's class. Only I'll share you only the source code. So you can copy command by command and you can execute and see the result also. Okay.
Sure, ma'am.
Okay. Don't
Thank you.
worry. Okay. So now let's move on. So now we have generated the string data. Then we have replicated the string values. Then we have assigned the string value into a variable also. And we access the string value using the index. Now, here we have seen one library function, REP. So do we have library function for numbers also? Yes, we have. We have a function called as sum. Can you try this? So what is expected when I give sum of and then 2, 3, 5? What is your understanding? Okay, I'll try here. Sum of 10, 20, 30. Okay, now what happens when I execute this command? The value 10 is added with 20 and 30 and the result is displayed. The result is not stored anywhere. How do I store the result? Okay, I should keep a variable. So now let me keep a variable. Z is equal to sum of 10, 20, 30. Whatever the values you give, the values are added. The end result is stored in the variable. And I can look into my environment and I'm able to locate the variable as well as its value. Correct? Okay, now let's see one more function also. SQRT. SQRT is nothing but square root, right? Square root of 64. So square root of 64 is 8, right? So you can just assign it to a variable, the end result of the function. So square root is a library function which takes input. That input value is 64. So what is the process happening here? Is square root. And what is your output? Output is 8. And where it is stored? It is stored in B. So are you able to recollect your IPO model? What is IPO? Input, process, output. So before you start with any program, you should be very clear what is your input for the program and what is the output you are expecting. for getting the output, what should be the process? So that you need to plan, and then based on that only you will be writing your program. Okay. So now we'll move on. So this much we have done. Okay. Now, what next is, next we are going to see one library function which is called as C. So C is nothing but combine. Okay. So what do you mean by combine? Combine will be combining the multiple values, right? So why I need to combine the values? Now let's see. Suppose I'm collecting your CIE mark. Okay, totally you have 5 subjects. So 5 subjects you have different CIE marks. Like one subject you have got 24 out of 25. Okay, another 30, right? 30 or 25, 30, right? Out of 30 you have got 28. Another subject you have got 25. Another subject you have got 27. So how do I store? So I will be storing like this. CIE 1 is equal to 28. Then CIE 2 is equal to 27. CIE 3 is equal to 25. This is how I will be storing it. So what happens is I'm creating 3 variables. So instead, what I want is, I want to keep only one variable name as CIE, and I want to store all the 3 variables inside. So how do I keep all the 3 values inside? I can use this operator C. Okay, and then I can just send these values separated by comma. So 28, comma 27, comma 25. So now what happened? Look at your environment. So CIE is one variable, and you can see here you have 3 numbers, 1, 2, 3. So what is this 1, 2, 3 indicates? Index of the value. So first index I have 28, second index I have 27, third index I have 25. Otherwise, I need to create 3 variables like this, and I will be copying the values this way. Okay, so which is convenient method of accessing the data? If I'm creating this way, I should remember 3 variable names. But if I'm creating this way, I need to remember only 1 variable name, right? So this is what you call it as vector. Are you getting it? So vector will be having multiple values into a variable. Okay, now how do I access CIE of 1, CIE of 2, CIE of 3? I'm sorry. Right? Okay. Now I have a question to you. Suppose I want to add the value. Here I have 3 values, right? But just to know, I want to add all the 3 CIE values. So how my command will look like? How do I create a command to add all the CIE values using this variable CIE? Okay, I don't want to use CIE 1, CIE 2, CIE 3, but I want to use this one. And I want to add these 3 values. What is the command I can use? Can you put it in the chat window? Put it in the chat window. Today, one more polling is left, okay? I can. Okay. Okay. Akshay has responded. Okay. So he has said that we can use sum of CIE. So now let's try. It's working, Akshay. When you give sum of CIE, what happens is the single variable CIE has 3 values inside. All the 3 values are added. Is the sum is correct, Akshay?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, perfect. Okay. Any other answers do you have regarding this? Any other answer? This is simplest way, but do you have any other answers for this? Anyone else? Yeah. No other response. I want one more answer. Sanuj, roll number 45. Sanuj, roll number 45. Sanuj Frederick, 20 MG501045. Are you there? Not there. Okay, let me load down the number. I need to check for attendance. Jason, number 17. Okay, I can see Yamini has responded by giving some of Yamini, this when I give like this, CIE 1, CIE 2, CIE 3 is three different variable. But is it possible to use one variable CIE and access these three different values? Now let me try. S is equal to CIE of 1 plus CIE of 2. So what happens? The two values are added and it's being stored inside the variable yes. Suppose I want to visualize the result. Let me give directly in the command prompt. So this way also I will be able to add. So I want to add the third index. Yes, I can do it by giving this way. Okay, so the result is same, but the methodology is different. You can use different types of techniques. Okay, so well done, Akshay and Yamini. Okay, we'll move on to the next command. So yeah, so here this is what they say. When I have multiple values inside a variable that is called as a vector, how do I create a vector using the command C? C is the combined command. Okay, C is nothing but combine. So we can combine number. Can you try combining string value this way? We have executed one command, right, to add two strings, but then it was not possible. So now can you try this way? The string can be enclosed in single quote or double quote, but according to R, it is considered as double quote. Though you give it in single quote, R will be assuming that it's a string and it will mark it with double quote. Okay, so don't worry whether you're using single quote or double quote. It is double quote. It is considered as double quote. Okay. Jason, okay. See, you may have a doubt with the response, you doubt with the answer, no problem, but unmute and respond that moment. Okay, we don't know whether you are in the class or not, right? It's not the physical class. In the online class, you need to respond. Okay, though you're not confident with the answer, just respond and just say what may be the answer, whether it's correct or not. That's not a problem. Okay. Okay, Jason. Yeah, have you tried this? Have you tried combining string values? Have you tried combining string values? Okay, I'll also try along with you. Yeah. So have reached my panel. Let me give yes is equal to I. So I should use C, right? C within bracket. Okay. Why there is a plus? Because the command is incomplete. Why the command is incomplete? So I have opened the bracket, but I have not closed it. So close this and hit enter. So now I can see there is a variable S created, which is having three values. Okay. Is there any other way I can do? Yes, I can do this way also. A1 is equal to A2 is equal to A3 is equal to Yeah. Now I can use combine operator, and then I can just list out the variables A1, A2, and A3. So can you see we have two variables now, right? One is this S, and uh, yeah, the other one is X. So you can see we have three values which are combined using C operator, and it has been copied into the variable yes. Okay. So yeah, we are here. So we have successfully executed the command. Now let's go into colon operator. So what we said about colon is nothing but sequence operator. So when I'm using the colon operator, I should be specifying what is the starting value of the sequence and also what should be the ending value of the sequence. So can you see here, the command given is 5:9. So what happens is there is a sequence generated starting with 5 and ending with 9. And how the sequence gets incremented by 1, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, right? So try giving 5:9. You may be having a doubt like, okay ma'am, we are getting 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, which are incremented by 1, but I want to have my own increment level. Maybe I want to have 0.5, maybe I want to have 0.25. How is that possible? Is that possible with sequence operator? See, it is not possible with sequence operator, but it is possible with library function. So alternate for sequence operator is the command seq. Can you see the function here? The sequence function takes three values. The first value is the starting of the sequence, second value is the ending of the sequence, and third value is your increment level. Okay, now let me execute this command. Okay, so now let's say 5:10. So what happens? I am able to generate a sequence, okay, with the starting value as 5, ending with 10. Okay, now let me use the library function seq, and then I'll give 5, 10. So I could see the same result 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now let me use the same function seq, and now I'm going to give the increment value as 0.5. So what is expected? In the earlier sequence, we have got totally 5 value, but now I may be getting more than 5 value. Let's see the result. So I could see 5, it is incremented by 0.5 to 5.5, incremented by 0.5 to 6, 6.5, 7, and finally the ending value is 10. So earlier in the sequence, I have got totally 5 values. Now in this sequence, I have got totally 10 values, but both are having starting and ending value as same. Mainly where we will be using this, mainly when you want to plot, right? When you want to plot, or when you want to perform creating a curve, or those time and all, you may be in need of generating the sequence. For example, 0 to 360 degree. So how do you generate? You cannot type 1, 2, 3 till 360, right? So how do I do it? Maybe I can just give 1:360. What happened? I have got totally 360 values. Okay, but I don't want all 360 value. So now I'm going to use the function seq, and then I'm giving 1, 360, 10. Now how many values we have? The value get incremented by 10. Okay, you don't want 1, 11 and all. Maybe you keep this way 0. So you get 0 to 360 values, which are incremented by 10. Okay, how do I store this value? I should assign it to a variable. So when I'm assigning it to variable, I could see this is saved in the environment as well. So D is a variable which is created to hold the values from 0 to 360 degree, right? Can you execute this? Done? Do you have any doubts here?
And these recordings will be posted after class, ma'am.
Will do. Will do. Fine. Shall we go for the poll question? Or you want to take 2 minutes to practice all the commands? Can I post the poll question?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, poll didn't come, ma'am. Okay.
Can you check one more time?
Now it came, ma'am. Now it came.
Fine then.
Ma'am, after the class, can we get the source codes for all this, all whatever we
Yes.
executed, ma'am?
You'll get the manual. You'll get the manual. Yes.
Okay, ma'am.